Ian.
Dave.
Joel.
Dave.
Ian, I suckered my autocross nemesis into joining the show this week. Joel Migchelbrink.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Joel, we're going to get right into it. Which one of you two is the better driver?
I'm more consistently slow, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's fair?
That's fair. I like that.
Shots,
so you think
shots fired? Question mark.
Oh!
Yeah.
No, it's a toss up. I mean, it doesn't help that Dave and I are continually messing with our cars. So as soon as you got to figure it out, you change something and then it behaves completely differently.
Well, we were talking about this the other day too, about like how a couple weeks ago we were talking about this, about how autocross, you can't really get a good baseline because they change the damn track every time.
Yeah. Probably one of my bigger problems too is switching between track and autocross. You have to completely unlearn certain things, and the violence of autocross. I can do it, but only when I do autocross for a full season with no track days thrown in there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The first time I drove with Dave, he was like, "Why are you going so slow?" I was like, "Well, I was going to build up to it." He's like, "There's no time. What are you talking about?"
Yeah. Throttle 100, steering angle, all of it.
Yeah. Inputs. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fun. I like the competition aspect of autocross. Track days are fun, but it's too expensive to do competitive track stuff.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get into that, Joel. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I think Joel's bled more over that than I have for sure. But yes. Yeah, and I think that, so for anyone who doesn't know, I know Joel from doing autocross with the BMW Club, right? When you're in the open class, you're in this kind of like, you're not an outcast because everybody's happy to see you, but there's a little bit of an odd camaraderie. How do you say it? Camaraderie. Thank you. Yes, with open class folks, with like the non-BMW cars that show up. And like there's people that like are competitive to the level that the BMW folks are, and then there's like the rest of us, right? And not to knock on Joel and I, but I feel like we fall into that, you know?
We're definitely rest of us. I mean, even in open, you have all the Corvette guys, and they're always 4 seconds faster than us. So you kind of got to pick your nemesis well.
Yeah. So I do like the idea of like the GTI versus the Fiat 500 being, you guys are each other's nemesis, because the thing I love about it is that in that battle, the GTI is the big car.
On paper, you have front wheel drive hatchbacks, turbocharged.
Yeah,
that's where the similarities end, though. I mean, they're completely behave differently. I drove the Fiat for the first time 2 weekends ago, and it was wild.
Yeah,
it goes sideways at the drop of a hat. Versus the GTI, which I pretty much set up most of the modifications were for track, so it's very stable. It really doesn't understeer or oversteer that much. It's just very calm for a front wheel drive, relatively light hatchback.
Yeah, the Fiat 500 is not that.
No.
It's very manic. It's very like, you know, it was at the cafe and had 10 espressos that morning.
Right. While Joel shows up like Sade smooth operator, right?
Well, I've only done track stuff since the famous giving you the double bird on camera.
Yeah. When I was lucky enough to somehow beat you by 0.2 seconds at the last event.
Yeah, that was. Let's talk about that.
But yeah, so I love your GTI. So like, give us, and for anybody who doesn't know, like, give us kind of like your story with how you got to the GTI, because I think you kind of took an interesting path, like, you know, with just how you acquired your GTI, because this is your first Volkswagen, right?
Yeah, I accidentally borrowed my cousin's Passat for like 6 months in college and didn't give it back, but it's the first one I've legally owned.
Okay. Your first non-stolen Volkswagen.
Yeah. No, I used to work a lot more than I do now, and I was working 80, 90-hour weeks, and I had bought a brand new Subaru, which I thought I could get some mileage out of, and then at about 55,000 miles, it had, I forget what it was, something in the engine. It's burning about a quart every gas tank.
No.
And, yeah.
A Subaru engine was burning oil? Come on.
But they released a TSB on it and said, go get a consumption test, and if you are at this limit, we'll replace the engine. And I took it to the Subaru dealer and checked it when I got home, and it was about a quart and a half, 2 quarts overfilled. So I'm like, I'm sure I could get corporate and fight all this stuff, but I didn't have the time to deal with it. And right next door was a Volkswagen dealership. So I'm like, drove over, tossed him the keys, and jumped in this thing.
So I'm sorry. So you took it to do a consumption test, and they just dumped like way too much oil in it?
Yeah, this was out in Chicago.
Yeah. So if it's full, right? If it's reading full and you burn 2 quarts and it's still reading full, then they don't have to replace your engine.
Exactly.
Yeah. What shitbags? That's that's awful.
But there weren't any lights on it. There was 50,000 miles on it, so it still had plenty of equity. So it was more convenient to just swap it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Somebody else's problem. So that's how you ended up with the GTI. And then
zero.
How soon after that did you start modding it and autocrossing it?
Oh, so right around, I was like, I got to be about 90% travel. So even as my daily, the thing doesn't even have 50,000 miles on it. It's a 2017.
Wow.
So I didn't really have time to do anything with it. And then I got sick of the travel. Said, screw it. I'm moving back to Colorado. And so that's when the modifications really started. I think I had a stage 1 tune early on just because it takes 10 minutes. But it was pretty much stock until I moved back here right around the time COVID hit. All of a sudden I had a bunch of time. And that's when I started tracking it, and I started modifying it more for the track than anything. I went with Kris to a test-in tune where you get 20 laps in a day in, and I was just like, well, this is pretty fun. And then I just kind of got more into the autocross because of the competitive aspect. You can, actually see how you're doing, improve, beat people that should beat you.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I just love that you just like happened into like one of the greatest, like people just consider the GTI like one of the greatest driver cars. Like it's up there, right? Like if you're just talking like cars you can just go buy for under, I don't know what, $60,000. It's a fantastic driver's car, period. Right? There's not really like an argument that you could have around it. And you just like rolled up like, this is it. Right? And
again, I did zero research before buying it, but a bunch after the fact. And I think it really, those Mark 7s really hit that sweet spot of dropping all the Audi technology down pre-Dieselgate when they cheaped out on everything. So it's a well put together car. I mean, if I wasn't an idiot, I could still be a really comfortable daily driver.
Yeah. Well, and what I appreciate about it is that you bought it at least somewhat out of spite. And I think any decision that is reached because of spite, I'm all for it.
And I'm definitely never going to own another Subaru.
Smash cut to what do you have in your driveway?
Yeah. No, my daily's a Subaru now.
But you didn't have to pay out the nose for it. So there's
it was free. So
yeah.
And it comes with 14 quarts of oil.
Yeah, it's fine. It's boring mom car, but it gets to work. Doesn't take premium gas.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so then tell me about your journey. Tell us about your journey to Lemons, because I'm always interested in how people end up doing that.
Well, Kris and I started talking. So just a background on Kris. We played on the same rugby team. We're both kind of competitive, and then we both get hurt a lot. So we kept in touch through snowboarding. We'd go snowboarding a lot. We have a mutual friend, and we'd go. Kris and I would drive up and always talk about cars. He's the one who got me into the BMW club, and we just started kicking around, ways to get competitive. He hates autocross because he hates standing around, which I get. Neither of us play rugby anymore. We needed some kind of competitive thing. And Lemon seemed like a good answer for getting that competitive driving without going fully bankrupt, I want to say.
Yeah.
Going lightly bankrupt. Yeah.
They really sucker people in with that buy a $500 car thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the infamous $500 car, my ass.
Yeah.
And so how did you guys land on an HHR?
Oh, we probably looked at a couple hundred ads and started reaching out, and we knew we wanted manual transmission because we didn't want to deal with cooling, basically. And let's be real, everybody likes manual transmissions.
Right.
Yeah.
And we wanted a 4-cylinder naturally aspirated, again, so we didn't have as much heat to deal with. And other than that, we were pretty open. This particular one, we looked at it, we're like, this is going to be cheap. It's going to be easy. Parts are available. It'll be 2 decades newer than most of what we're racing against, which is nice because parts are still made. I mean, they still make some of the Ecotech engines, not the one that came in ours, but they're still produced in China, so you can go out and buy a brand new engine. And it really just worked out perfectly in terms of our negotiating strategy. I started talking to the guy and finally got a hold of him on a Monday, and he's like, I have an appointment Wednesday for a truck to pick this up, and he was going to donate it to one of the Cars for Kids or one of those places.
Uh-huh.
He's like, if you can get here before Wednesday, you can, we'll make a sweet deal on it.
He was basically like, if it works for my schedule, then fuck those kids.
And I like that, like, he's luring you into a competition already with a complete stranger. Yeah.
I mean, we don't have any shame, so it's like, yeah, of course we're gonna take it.
And we hate children.
They've had it too good for too long.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we show up with a trailer, and the transmission worked when we showed up, kind of. It was clunking. It was really loud, but it drove under its own power, which was the key thing. We got there. It sounded like we weren't competing with the kids. He was going to sell it to the scrapyard. And his whole shtick was he was going to be able to drive it under its own power to the scrapyard and get $400 for it or whatever. Well, I drove it around the block. Kris gets in it, makes it halfway around the block. And the transmission fully grenades to where it's stuck.
I was going to say, he didn't stop for ice cream. The transmission grenaded.
Transmission grenaded, and I guess one of the pieces was stuck in the gear because it wouldn't roll, it wouldn't move. So the guy grabs his other HHR, I get in the car, try to put it in neutral and have the foot on the clutch, and he rams it with his other HHR until it frees up. And then I coast it down the hill back to his house. And we're like, you're not driving it to the junkyard now.
What was his attitude like when the transition? Was it like, oh, it does that? Or was he angry with you guys for breaking his...
He was totally upfront. He's like, this is on its last legs. Do you want to test drive it? I'm like, well, it might break. And he's totally cool with it. The guy was really nice. He actually texted me the other day. I sent him some photos of the completed race car. He was happy to hear it. And
nice.
I showed him some photos of what broke, and he was all like, diehard HHR guy, but there's some design flaws when you try to turn him into a race car.
And it should be noted that HHR, for anyone who doesn't know, HHR folks are like Saab folks in that they usually have more than one HHR. Like they are like cockroaches. Like there's one that you see, but then there's 7 in the backyard under tarps that you don't. Yeah, they scatter when the lights get turned on.
I mean, when you can buy a parts car for a couple $100, you might as well, right?
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So talk about your negotiating skills. So like at that point, the car, he can't drive it under its own power. He wanted $500 for it, right? Because you just had to beat the junkyard price at that point, right?
He had it listed for $1,000, and we didn't do any negotiating up front. I just said, we'll take it. We showed up with a trailer, and it was Kris, my dad, and myself all there. He's like, well, the scrapyard was going to give me $400 for it. And so we all just look at each other and go, so you'll take $200 and we'll throw it on this trailer right here? And he goes,
wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it turned out to be a good platform, I think. I mean, easy to work on, probably got more room in there than most other cars. You fit the tall people.
Zero rust. Like it is clean, man. Yeah.
It's cleaner than my Volkswagen.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I mean, so we suddenly had an orange HHR, and then somehow you managed to sucker me into getting involved with it.
Yeah, that was hard. I think I texted you a picture and you say, okay, I'm on the team.
and you were like, I didn't fucking ask, buddy. Oh, you thought that was an invitation. Sorry. Yeah.
Now you can't get rid of them. Yeah.
Yeah. That would make the next autocross event real awkward.
So back to the guy you bought it from real quick. Is he like a potential source for parts as well?
No.
Do you feel like we've just been to that well and like we're good on our own?
Yeah, and he likes HHRs as cars, not race cars.
Right.
So it's not like he just likes HHRs. He had a bunch of them, but those were his dailies.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get the draw. They're quirky and weird cars. They're radically practical,
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, especially if you take out the back seats, you could have you could be like a plumber or an electrician and have a legit work truck out of an HHR, And
you can get a nice one for $1,500.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I bought a short belt, serpentine belt for it yesterday for $5.95. And it was a Continental. It wasn't even like, a schmelt belt or anything,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's cheap.
I mean, yeah, a brand new engine is $1,000. A brand new, not remanufactured transmission is $500. There's not that much to go wrong in the car. They don't have that many issues. So, if you need a reliable daily that's practical and you can fit a bunch of tools in the back, it makes a lot of sense.
Right?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how was it as a race car though?
Yeah, because you're the only one who's gotten real serious time in it.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad about that. It's composed. It is so slow that it's hard to lose that composure. But it's fine. I mean, it didn't feel scary other than the braking thing. So we swapped the rear drums for disc brakes for heat, and the fact that, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
None of us really works on drum brakes that often. So
Yeah.
And there's a ton of it was like 4 bolts. It's easy to do, but we didn't adjust the brake cylinder to reduce the pressure going to the back. So I went sideways in turn 4 once, and I think turn 1, just because the rears lock up if you brake too hard.
Those are, so for anyone who doesn't know high plains, those are both pretty fast corners and pretty terrifying places to pull the handbrake effectively.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it felt like. But at the same time, I mean, you're not going very fast, so
right.
And at this point, most of my experience on the track is front wheel drive, so I'm kind of used to handling that. But the nice part too is 4 goes uphill, which you don't even notice until you drive this car.
Yeah, I was telling them that like I can't remember the last time I had to think about what gear I was in when I was going up a hill on the highway. Like, yeah, but I had to do planning when I was driving it down. Yeah, from the house. Yeah.
Even with all the weight taken out of it, it's still that slow, huh?
Well, I think interior doesn't get you as much as people like want to think, and then you throw like solid steel roll cage in there.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Yeah,
it's got a beastly cage, a great cage.
Yeah,
and from the factory, it probably made 140 horsepower, and with 230,000 miles, and who knows how well these engines are maintained. Like, yeah. We're probably making 100 to the wheels.
Yeah. Yeah. But it feels solid in a straight line, Yeah, front wheel drive experience I think really helps, And like when you guys were having the idea, I was kind of feeling out like if I would like to join my nemesis on a Lemons team, and kind of wanted to see where your guys' heads were at. And you guys were like you and Kris were ticking all of the boxes for me, and I was talking to Ian. I was like, I think these guys are legit. Like they're looking at this the right way. They're like chasing reliability. They're not trying to slam like a massive turbo or an LS in it. Like other than I can't stand Joel, I'm excited about this. Yeah.
Well, there's enough decent people on the team to make up for me, I think.
I have to say, getting in with you guys has been fantastic. And it's been such an incredible, thing where like none of us has to be the person to do everything. And it's been really awesome. And I'm really excited for future races for sure. I mean, the truck, the HHR is sitting in my garage right now. Listeners don't know this, but it's sitting in my garage right now, getting ready for a track day in a couple days. Yeah.
Yeah, no, great team. And I think we, very good, different skill sets that complement each other well. But yeah, no one person can do all this. It's too much work.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, PETA and I were talking, and so of course I suckered PETA into this. And if Ian had been in Colorado this summer, somehow you would be oil covered as well, Ian. But
hopefully, yeah,
yeah. But we were talking about like just how like Lemons is almost like it forces friendships, like whether you realize it or not, and like and if you can find people that like you can get along with and like your heads are moving in the same direction and stuff, then like you can have a great time doing this, And so it's like the Lemons, like I think PETA said, like the Lemons were the friends we made along the way, Yeah. Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. But
it's great. I'm excited to see what you guys do in September and for this new track day.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a rule that no matter what, we send it. And if it moves under its own power, we're going to drive it.
Yeah, I think that's a good rule. Like, if you pick this platform because replacement parts are cheap, then burn through some replacement parts. I think it's a good way to learn, right?
We were so convinced, all of us, there was not a doubt in any of our minds that the block was toast. I don't know if you've gone over the story about.
Oh yeah, the post Lemons report. Yeah, for sure. But for anyone just tuning in, yeah, like after Joel did the initial stint at the 24-hour race, PETA took it out for maybe 2 laps and it started overheating massively and got towed in. All the coolant was gone. And yeah, we ended up replacing the head gasket in a marathon 8-hour stretch. And then we idled it around. We went through the judge's station and we pulled the oil and it was a Wendy's Frosty again. Smash cut to Joel and I up in the garage, up at the barn where the truck is. What, a week ago, Joel? Yeah.
Yeah. We were still convinced the engine was toast. So we get it up on jack stands and we're starting to drain the fluids, and I'm looking at the oil coming out of the engine and it looks brand new. I mean, there's we can't run coolant because of Lemons. It's just straight water, but there's no water in it at all. It looks like we hadn't run it much after the last oil change. So, but I was expecting, a little bit of mixing just sitting there. Nothing. Pure clean oil comes out. So Dave and I start talking. I'm like, we get our hopes up, and I'm like, we better make sure. Let me check the coolant. I put my hand under the radiator as it was draining it. I think I said it felt like my hand was in a cool mountain stream. Nothing in it but water.
Yeah. Yeah. So whatever was mixing oil and coolant, we suspect was the head gasket, and we fixed it.
And we
just didn't know it. We just didn't cycle enough oil, because when you do that, like, you need to do like 3 or 4 oil changes to really get everything out. And if there was water in that oil when it sat, the water would have come out first, right? Like, water drops to the bottom, right? In the oil pan, we would have seen clear water come out initially. We didn't see any of that. Yeah.
And so you drove it. So it's the same engine that was in.
Yeah. So then I ran home, grabbed compression, leak down, the vac tester for the coolant system. Ran it like cylinder 2's low, but it was 90 or 95. It wasn't that low.
Yeah. The rest are like clocking in at 110, like 100 and 110. Yeah. And cylinder 2's 90. Yeah.
Yeah. The one that looked the most damaged at the track was still slightly damaged, but it drove mostly fine. So I take it out on the road, and it seems fine. And then the temperature gauge dropped to 0, and the check engine light comes on. So I'm like, oh, I better get this back to the barn. And then that problem went away.
Yeah.
Weird.
We changed the oil again, checked it again, and it worked fine. So
yeah. Yeah.
The magical healing HHR.
I drove it down to my house. I did an oil change. No sparkles, no water. I drained the coolant, drained the water. No issues, And so I'm cycling some oil. I'm going to run an engine flush through it tomorrow. One of those liquid moly things.
Yeah.
Just because, right? And kind of go from there. And in the
a backup like junkyard engine just in case.
So
yeah, go for that. Yeah.
I like the next weekend, I found another HHR nut in Denver, who bought a random engine and then didn't really know what it was, because he had the 2008 HHR 2.2 as well. So the same car we have. He buys this engine, sees that it has variable valve timing when ours doesn't, the 2008 2.2s didn't have variable valve timing. So he sells this to me. He's like, "Oh, I accidentally bought one from 2009, which the engine code had 2009 build dates and it had variable valve timing." So I legitimately thought it was a 2.2 from a 2009 HHR. I start pulling it apart, and the first thing I see, the head gasket is stamped LE5, which is the engine code for the 2.4 Ecotech. So I had this block, came with a transmission and a full engine, negotiated down. I didn't mention race car at all. I just told him my HHR broke and I need an engine.
Yeah.
I like that. You got to get to work, right?
All true.
Yeah. I didn't lie.
Right.
But yeah, I got the whole thing for $250, figuring worst case I could sell the accessories, the intake manifold, and the transmission and get more than that back. Because I did a little bit of research. I'm by no means an Ecotech expert, but from what I can tell, they're kind of Legos. You have variable valve timing or not, and then you have a 2.0, 2.2, or 2.4, but most of the parts are interchangeable. So there's no reason you can't use a 2.4 block with the 2.2 head. I mean, everything except the crank position sensor is on the head. So as long as you can get the right head for your computer, it doesn't care what block you have.
Huh. Interesting. But there's a different computer for variable valve timing, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Long term, I think I'm the only one on the team with this opinion. But long term, I think we switch to that computer that does the variable valve timing, because that's the engine that's still in production. I think it's in a Polaris Slingshot, I want to say.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there's a ton more of those LE5s than anything else out there.
Well, feel free to take as many slingshots off the road as you
want. Yeah.
But no, so I took this block. I went to the machine shop, had it bored 50 over or 20 thousandths over, cleaned it up, started buying parts, was getting ready, still going to put it together. But yeah, now all the parts are sitting in my garage. While Dave and I were at the barn, the rest of the team was in the junkyard grabbing another 2.2 out of a Cobalt.
This time without a hole in the block. Yeah.
I was gonna say, was this the one with the hole in the block?
No, that was before. Yeah.
Okay.
So we went from having no engines to 3 engines.
Hey, that's probably what you need, right?
Yeah. You should have heard the tone in Chris's voice when he called and I told him that I thought the engine would be good. Because Joel, when we thought it was good, like Joel ran to get like the compression tester, and because we showed up just ready to pull an engine and do like debug diagnostic work, right? Like figure out like post-mortem shit, right? And that curve came at us, and so Joel made a tool and coffee run, and in the meantime, Kris calls me from the junkyard and he's like, "How things going?" And I'm like, "Pretty good, actually." And he was like, "Wait, what?" And so like, not only did the team roll really well with not being able to finish the 24 hours of Lemons, the team also rolled really well with like, oh, we actually could have finished if we just changed the oil a couple more times.
That's the hardest part in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been feeling like shit for 2 months now that I was the only one who got to drive. And it was like, well, y'all could have driven.
Yeah. We all didn't know it. Yeah. But yeah. So, I mean, the plan is just to continue with like, oh no, we have too many engines. Then we won't be in the position where we have to scramble for an engine the next time one blows. Right.
And honestly, now that most of the team has done it once, I think we can replace a whole engine faster than we can do a head gasket.
100%. Yeah, because the engine's going in already timed, all that stuff, right? Yeah,
we don't have to scramble for parts.
Yep. We've cut the AC system out,
We don't have to do diagnosis. their engine's bad, throw in another one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We learned a lot on that first race. I mean, Kris did an arrive and drive last year, but other than that, I think it was all of our first time. So little things that you wouldn't think about. I think a 2x4 would have saved me a few times, like getting under the car. Packing list. Why would we need a compression tester?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and none of us want to like bring duplicative tools, but we were still very well organized going into it. We had a Google Sheet, we had, in-person and online meetings, and yeah, we were really well organized thanks to Joel and Kris for sure.
It's just as much logistics as anything else. I mean, how do you get a car that's probably going to break, 2 sets of tires, boxes full of tools and spares? I mean, we got spare axles. We predicted a lot of things would break that didn't break.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with all that power, I can see why you were worried about axles.
Basically, anything we didn't touch up front, I thought like that might break. So
yeah.
I mean, I even made a spare lighted number just in case somebody plowed into the side of us, right? And we wouldn't be able to get back on track without a lighted number, right? Like that was the kind of stuff we were thinking through. Yeah.
It's not like we can't have those problems in the future. So right. I'm still glad we got all the spares and whatnot. I mean,
that's the thing about racing. There's always new and exciting ways to fail.
And it should be noted, Joel is a legitimate scientist. So like when he's researching something, like you have rapidly become the ecotech encyclopedia. Like the fact that you know so much about these in such a short ramp up time. Like you joeled it,
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I like diving into that, and kind of it's fun when half the information is on a forum that hasn't been updated in 15 years. Because forums are kind of dying. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
Yeah.
But everything's on Facebook now, which I hate Facebook, except I'm a car guy, so you kind of have to, between Facebook Marketplace for parts and the Ecotech Junkies Facebook page, you kind of have to be on it.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. You get to talk to people and see other ecotech nerds and what they're doing. And I haven't bought any of these parts, but there's a whole group of people who use these for dirt racing, where they open up the engine for inspections. So you can buy aftermarket camshafts that are stamped GM so that it passes an inspection. You can get a 2.2 Ecotech to 250 horsepower and have it pass and open the valve cover inspection. So
wow, I never knew that. Yeah,
that sounds fun.
Yeah, this episode can never air. The secret stays here.
No, I haven't bought any performance parts yet. That's outside of the budget. Let's say that.
Yeah, finish a race first, and then it's time to go vroom vrooms. Yeah.
Well, not all teams think that way, though, right?
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. And so, just knowing where Joel and Kris's heads were at was I mean, that's what got this idiot to show up. So yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm very excited to see what happens with the HHR next. Should we play a game?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I made a license plate game. It is race car themed. So this is a game that Dave and I play on the show where you get 3 cars with vanity plates, but we block out the vanity plates, and then you have to match the text of the vanity plate to the car. And this one is called Actually, I Don't Have to Pay Attention to the Driver's Meeting. So these are all
I feel like
Why are all these pictures of my mother? Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad we didn't get into the car wash story.
Well, I mean, now you have to tell us.
What's the car wash story?
Yeah, I don't know. Do I know the car wash story?
It was an open lapping day at HBR, and I thought I needed to wash the Volkswagen before the track day. I had all my tools in the back, and I high centered it on the car wash, the track where your wheel goes.
What?
I got stuck in a car wash on the way to the track and missed the driver's meeting by 3 minutes. I missed roll call. So you know how they do roll call and
yes,
they call your name, and if you don't say present, that you're not allowed to race. That was the only part of the driver's meeting I missed.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I had to get the attendants, and they like pushed me off it to get back out of the car wash. I didn't wash my car. I showed up dirty.
Did you end up being able to drive?
Yeah, Glenn yelled at me for a while, but then they let me. And
did you tell him what you did?
Yeah, and he said, "You're an idiot." And I said, "You're right, I am."
I think that's part of like just staying in people's good graces is admitting when you've done a dumb thing, right?
And who could make that up?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's really good.
Yeah, this isn't my dog ate my homework kind of thing. But like Volkswagen getting stuck in a car wash and high centered, yeah, that is 100% plausible.
And now I gotta go fix the underbody panels that I damaged. They're off the car now that I'm working on it, and there's a few holes.
I like this because both of you have something in common in that you fucked up somebody else's equipment. You, Joel, like high centering in a car wash. Ian, blue screening the emissions people's computers.
That's true.
When they tried to test yours.
Well, and both of you have been yelled at by Glenn.
Yes, you are right. I have. Yes. Because I was an idiot and put a GoPro in my tow hook, and he threw it into the car when I blew the big engine. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, when he needed to use the tow hook.
Yeah. Yeah. I did.
Yep. Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Yep. So there you go. Yeah. Anyway,
license plate game. I was not trying to. I didn't know that you had missed a driver's meeting, so this was not an attack on you. It was more a general attack on people who fluff off the driver's meeting,
who don't need to go attend the driver's meeting. Yeah. I love it whenever we're at the driver's meeting and somebody pulls their car up to the driver's meeting because they've just come in the gate. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. And Joel, I have not seen this license plate game either, so you and I are coming in cold on this one. So
yeah, you guys can work together on this.
We're going to turn it into a vicious competition like we do everything.
Nemesis.
We're not doing the license plate game. We're doing it at each other. Yeah.
I guess the opposite of Dave's answers.
$1, Bob. $1. Okay. Oh, wow. Ooh. Yeah. Joel, tell the 4 people listening to this, like what you see. Yeah.
All right. So we got a C5 or C5, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The pop-up headlights. Yep.
Yellow Corvette with an excessive number of hood vents, dive canards.
Yeah.
On a rear-wheel drive car. Very yellow, very black, very Corvette.
Mm-hmm.
And in the middle, we have a Mark IV Supra.
Yep.
I think with aftermarket taillights and a fart can exhaust.
Yeah. And some meaty meats on the back there.
And some, pretty good looking tires.
Yeah.
And then we have a Chevy race car. Monte Carlo with a bunch of stickers and an Intimidator badge and a wide bumper and blacked out taillights.
Yeah. And we'll do some zoomies and enhancies in a minute.
Yeah. And the license plates are race car, RAC3 car, Thrill Me, and Trek car, TRCKCR. Okay. What do you want to see first, Joel?
Let's just start at the top. Let's start with Corvette.
Yep. We got the Corvette seat covers on the.
Oh.
Yep.
We have a autocross sticker. 3 on the side there.
Yeah, number plate for sure. I hear Bad to the Bone in my head when I see this car. Just the guitar riff.
That's this person's ringtone for sure.
Yes. Oh, big wing. I didn't see the wing before.
Oh, I didn't see the wing either. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This one I could see. Yeah. This one could be on the track.
Radar detector. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay.
North Dakota plates.
Yep. Yeah.
And yellow. I like the yellow lettering on the tire sidewall as well.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah. Okay.
But it definitely got some rock chips. This isn't a sneakers and New Balance Corvette.
Right. It doesn't seem too precious. It seems some utilitarian for sure. Yeah. Yeah. How many of articles of clothing that have Corvette themes or Corvette things on them do you think this person owns?
They've got the full luggage kit, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Corvette undies for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really picking anything else out about this one. Yeah, they got like some little sticker on the bumper here, like, I don't know, probably some like Resden tires or something like that.
Sponsor.
Yeah. Sponsor. Yeah. The paint looks interesting though. It looks.
That's a respray for sure.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say it looks respray. It looks like the yellow paint on our turtle van. Like, did PETA paint this one too? Yeah. Okay. And then Supra with some kind of sticker. Is that a Rick and Morty sticker or something like that? I don't know what that sticker is above the exhaust.
Or is that
it's a little like an anime sticker, I think.
Okay. What's that, Joel?
Well, I thought it might be a burn from the exhaust.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's like a character's face.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I see what you're saying though. I always like the 4th gen Supras when they're a little high, like almost like anytime you see one a little bit higher and not slammed to the ground, you know not to fuck with that car. Like, that it's just going to eat anything in a straight line. Right.
And that's a full exhaust. It's not just a fart can, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And is that a wide body kit or are they actually that wide?
I think they're actually that wide.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, I could see this as, I mean, they does anybody track these anymore? They're getting kind of expensive.
Oh, the transmissions are crazy rare and expensive now. I think the transmissions are well over $10,000. Yeah, I can't remember, but the transmissions are insane now for these. So, yeah, I don't think anybody's tracking them. But I don't know. Yeah.
I think there's more to zoom and enhance on the last one.
Yeah.
Okay. We got to get into this because this is the worst generation of Monte Carlo. And this whole Intimidator thing.
I mean, I don't know these well enough. What's a Monte Carlo Intimidator?
Yeah, we're going to learn together in real time.
So the Monte Carlo SS, there was I think a special package you could get for it, but the SS was a real thing, and that body kit is factory.
Okay,
that's a factory body kit.
Yep. Yeah. So here's another one that looks exactly the same.
It's
okay.
It's the
3.8 liter,
3.8 supercharged engine.
Yeah.
Now we're getting a little interesting. If it wasn't attached to one of the shittiest chassis ever made. Yeah.
And a 4-speed automatic.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, these were like real things and people are passionate about them.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. And I mean, raise hell, praise Dale, of course, burn down an Applebee's, but
absolutely.
I never would have guessed that's a stock car. I thought that was, auto part special.
Yeah, I don't know. The wing and the decals might be a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some extra. There's a little bit extra there, but that body kit, that's factory.
Yeah, and the taillights have to be a little brighter than that from the factory, right?
Yeah, they had just normal taillights from the factory. Yeah. The people that put the blackout stuff on their taillights, Yeah.
So they don't work as well.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So the license plates: race car, thrill me, track car.
All right. Yeah. Anything jumping out to you, Joel? Anything kind of?
Well, I have a feeling that Monte Carlo doesn't see a track very often.
Right. But it identifies as a race car. Is what I'm thinking. I want to put that one as a race car, but that's me. Yeah.
I could see that. It could go either way.
Yeah. Right. Thrill me or race car.
I think the Corvette track car is the only lock, and I could see the other two. I could see that. I could see Corvette as track car, Supra as thrill me, because they probably have it souped up but don't drive it very often, because that paint looks nice.
It does.
And then the Monte Carlo has Dale's name on it, so obviously it's a race car.
Okay.
Dave, what are you thinking?
I'm gonna go just to be different. My gut is saying exactly what Joel said. But in the spirit of competition, I'm going to say that Thrill Me is on the Corvette, Race Car is on the Intimidator, and and Race Car's on the Intimidator, and then Track Car is on the Supra, even though I don't think it's likely. I think you're right, Joel, but yeah.
All right. Well, the answer's in the Dave Don't Look folder.
Okay. All right, let's see here. Dave Don't Look. Okay, actually, I don't need to pay attention to the driver's meeting. Here we go.
Joel, you have defeated Dave yet again.
Oh, scoreboard.
Nice.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Nice, man.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And I should say Sterling saw the Monte Carlo, so I didn't thank him for that.
Okay, yeah, from the Flag Time podcast. Yeah, check them out for sure. Subscribe to their Patreon. Thank you, Sterling. Yeah. And then you saw the Supra and Corvette, Ian?
Yeah. Yep. On this road trip, I've seen them. Yeah.
Okay.
Saw them this summer.
Did the Supra sound like a planet-destroying beast?
No, he was way up ahead of me. So
okay. Huh. Right on. Nice, man. Nice. Yeah. Well done, Joel. Also, damn it. Damn you to hell. Nemesis.
Get him next time. You'll get him next time, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I don't think we talked about is that Joel is doing a bunch of upgrades to his Volkswagen in the spirit, out of spite for me beating him at autocross last season. So,
that's the only reason.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, tell the folks what you're doing with your Volkswagen, because you're doing some cool stuff with it.
Yeah. So it's kind of meandered as, I'm not building it for anything specifically. It is totally illegal for any class that you would want to actually run it in. But basically, a bunch of deferred maintenance and a turbo from a Golf R, and probably a bunch of cooling. I had one really bad weekend at HPR where I melted a set of brake pads. It's hitting 270s in the oil temp. So I'm doing a oil cooler, hood vents, and then a bunch of small reliability stuff and intake, just because the one I had on there was crap. But yeah, just make it so it can beat Dave, and that's about it.
And that was how I suckered Joel into dual driving the Fiat with me at autocross, right? Because his VW is still on jack stands, and it's like you obviously love autocross, and to Joel's credit, he has never driven my Fiat ever. Showed up and was within 2 seconds of my time instantly, and by the end of the day, you were within 1 second. So you were progressing like I was, right?
Yeah. It takes some getting used to the Italianness of it, but it's not that hard to drive.
Yeah. No, but it was fantastic, and I'm really glad that you were able to drive it, because I think it's such having somebody else drive it on the street, I think, is one thing. And having somebody else autocross it, I think, is a whole nother thing. I'm always happy whenever both things happen. But a huge thing that I want to happen with this car is I want more people to drive it, like it was meant to be driven, Oh,
absolutely. I love when people drive my car. It, especially when better drivers drive your car and show you what the car is capable of. And, where I'm failing as a driver, because you can't cheat your way all the way. You can get pretty far by cheating, but you can't get all the way.
Yeah. There's no better upgrade than a driver upgrade, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. There was that very sobering moment last season at autocross when somebody else was in a Mark 7 GTI like yours. They were right next to me. And I think you were running 44s, and then that one guy at the end just destroyed and laid down a 42.
Yeah, I went over and talked to him. He was more competitive, been doing it a while, much better driver than I was. But it's crazy to see the same platform, probably less mods than I.
Yeah.
Stickier tires, which I'm going to rectify when I get it back together.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But I don't think that I have that. Nobody else is showing up in a Fiat 500 to Barth. So everything I do, I'm I'm the greatest Barth driver in the world. Also, I'm the worst. Who knows? Who cares? Right? Beep, beep. We're having fun. So yeah. Yeah. Right. But I'm so thankful that I'm so thankful that your Volkswagen wasn't finished to the point, and you were able to come out and enjoy the Abarth with me. And I cannot wait to see I can't wait to see how you adapt your driving style to meet the upgrades and stuff like that. Because the boost is going to be different and stuff. It's going to be a whole thing. It's going to be really interesting for sure.
Yeah, and I'll be happy to return the favor. Let you drive that one.
Yeah.
See what it's like to calm down a little bit.
To not have 30 espressos and then show up at a parking lot. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. No. So Ian, do you have an album of the week for us?
Yes, I think we should close it out. I don't know that much about this record, but I just listened to it for the first time this week. It came out in 2013, but it's just been reissued, and my friend sent it to me, and it's very up my alley. So there's a punk band called Urinals, but then they rebranded to be more for a post-punk record called 100 Flowers, and it's just their self-titled record, and it's just great straight ahead post-punk, loud LA type punk music. So it's a lot of fun.
Okay, have you ever heard of this, Joel? The Urinals or 100 Flowers?
No, that's a bit free of the punk I listen to. Yeah,
this is apparently from 1983, but they just reissued it, and it's awesome.
Right on. Okay. Yeah.
So
nice.
Yeah. Check this out. It's fun.
Right on. Yeah. Well, yeah. Joel, anything else you want to say? Do you want to make a bold prediction for the next autocross season as to how much you're going to beat me?
No. I'm more worried about getting this Lemons car to at least get everybody a stint, and then I'll be happy.
Right. Yeah. And I think I finally have the live streaming stuff dialed. We did a good test with us at autocross. And I think like we're going to have good live streaming and good video of everybody driving the car. So
yeah, get good feet videos there, everybody.
yeah. It's going to be called the Turtle Toes Pedal Cam.
I love that.
Yeah. But yeah, but Joel, I've never told you this before, but I really appreciate like everything that like you bringing me into the Lemons team. I really appreciate like you just letting me do what I do with the HHR and having such a good time with it. And I really appreciate you like you being competitive with me at autocross, because I could not have driven the way that I did last season if it wasn't for you pushing me. And so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we're super lucky. I'm so happy you're on the team. You're taking us to a whole nother level, and it's been great. I appreciate that you joined us. I mean, I've definitely had conversations with Kris about how lucky we are to have you helping us out and running point on all this tech and things that the rest of us just can't do. And super, super happy to have you.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm just so thankful to be on a team that like is so collaborative and so like, you know, just has their heads in the right place and is so interested in like getting other people's seat time and, you know, like, and finding the space for me to like really find my motorsports home in like autocross, and then like being in the pits for Lemons and stuff like that, and having such a great team of you guys, you know, to like be in the pits for you guys like that. It's so awesome. And so I'm very, very thankful.
Yeah, it's great to be on a team.
Yeah.
And then next year I'll worry about beating you in autocross.
Yeah, no problem. I am looking forward to it. Genuinely looking forward to it. Yeah, I want to see you lay down a time that I just go straight to anger. Yeah, there's those times where like, go ahead.
You're going to stop on the way home and trade it out for a C6 Corvette or something like
that. Yes. I make a spite purchase just like you do with your Subaru. There you go. That's when you know you really won, when you get me to throw like 40 grand at something. Yeah. Nice, Joel. Nice. Thank you. So yeah.
Well, Joel, Dave, I think we did a car show. Joel, thank you so much for coming on. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Absolutely, buddy. Also, damn you, Joel.
Everybody check out the live stream of the Lemons race when that'll be in September 14th on our channel.
Yeah, we'll put it up on the Apex Adjacent channel. Yeah. You know, I use everything as leverage to get just one additional viewer to our channel. So if it's like Joel's parents, I want them to subscribe. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Everybody, thank you so much. We love you. Goodbye.